Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the moon, sextile or trine Chiron in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have the moon, sextile, or trine Chiron in a natal chart, but you may easily meet that need, which is the moon, to help and heal others, which is Chiron. If you have, say, Chiron in Aquarius, helping and healing others may be done, through humanitarian, selfless, altruistic actions. It may be done through some Aquarius related field, whether it could be astronomy, computers, electronics, astrology, as some examples. And the thing is about these aspects is that the healers, which is Chiron, may be compatible, with your unconscious side, which is the moon. Now, I have this aspect. My moon is in Gemini, so the people that are healers, whether be doctors, physicians, or what have you, maybe like my unconscious side that I express, being in Gemini, could be qualities that are witty, quick-witted, um, the loquacious, side, the eloquent side of me that may be unconscious. The thing about this as well, and just the versatile side as well, being very diversified, but maybe not always, consciously aware of it. Now, another way these aspects may manifest in a natal chart, it could be auspicious for healers, which is Chiron, to heal those issues, that you may have, whether it be the breast, the chest, the stomach, ribs, the left or right eye, depending on gender, and that is the moon. Now, if you have, let's say, Chiron is in Aries, those healers, one or more may actually be an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be, those that are, aggressive, assertive, forceful, courageous, outspoken, direct, straightforward, but yet may be, impatient, impulsive, but can be hot-tempered as well. As some examples, if you have your say if your moon is in Pisces, there may be some issues. If you have any issues with the left or right eye, maybe it has to do with blurred vision. Gemini, I think, could be double, actually, the double vision, in some cases. So as some examples. Now, the thing about these aspects too, and how it may be expressed in the natal chart, could be where the mother and family, which is the moon, may be beneficial in you dealing with matters with depleted self-esteem. Again, I have this aspect. I have Chiron and Aries making a sextile to my moon in Gemini. Now, with me, Chiron and Aries, I would say, could be identity issues, your place in society, trying, maybe difficulties in fitting in, because the lack of maybe understanding who you are to some degree. It could be physical related, self-esteem, maybe depleted due just to simply physical related issues. It could be lack of aggression, assertiveness, forcefulness, courage. I do have Chiron and Aries in the 12th house, so it's tied in with my secret sorrows, and I often deal with it in solitude and seclusion. Now, another way these aspects may manifest in a natal chart, it could be where emotional and physical wounds, which is Chiron, may be less likely to have, an adverse effect on your sleeping, on the unconscious, being when you're unconscious, which is the moon. Now, if you have Chiron and Scorpio, say, there could be physical related issues, connected with the colon, the bladder, prostate, reproductive system, urinary tract, um, And again, if Chiron is in Scorpio as an example, emotional wounds may be ones connected with support, or issues with trying to empower or make a major change or transformation. Maybe it's dealing with some kind of crisis or upheavals. Uh, it may be, issues, maybe being resilient, bouncing back from adversity. There may be emotional, suffering on that level. It could be one, a deeper psychological nature in some cases, as some examples. Now, the thing is, but it would less likely have an effect on your ability to sleep, I should say. Now, another thing about these aspects in the natal chart is that the deepest wound, which is Chiron, may have less of a negative or adverse effect on your emotional state, which is the moon. Now, again, going to the Chiron and Aries as an example, which I have. Deepest wound may be tied into issues with courage or bravery or aggression. Just simply taking action in matters of showing initiative, doing things, and there may be issues with me doing things, with little hesitation or procrastination. The Aries is very, action oriented, and I think that for me, a lot of it manifests in having, a very, that deep wound, connected with the deepest wound for me. Just matters of, taking action. There may be issues with independence as well. And the thing about, these aspects as well is that, it could also manifest in really being readily, expressing, your feelings, which is the moon, about insecurities that you may have, which is Chiron. If Chiron is in Libra as an example, there may be some insecurities connected with relationships. Maybe it has to do with issues with collaborating with others on projects and endeavors. Maybe it's some kind of attractiveness, or trying to compromise or negotiate, finding difficulties finding balance and equilibrium in one's life. It could, these are things, where, there may be certain insecurities, but you may be able to readily express your feelings on those matters. Now, another thing too is that, the moon sextile or trine Chiron in a natal chart could also be expressed in easily being able to respond, which is the moon, to pain and anguish, which is Chiron. Now, the thing, and that could be, of course, of a physical or emotional, nature. If Chiron is in Capricorn, as an example, there may be some, anguish on a, not physical, but more an emotional level. You know, that could be, tied in with, the career, one's stature in life, social status, maybe even with notoriety and recognition. Um, Being able to find structure and discipline in one's life as some examples. Also, too, there may be a little difficulty, in terms of being in the mood, which is the moon, and being, emotionally vested in terms of finding the key, which is Chiron, to deal, with that suffering connected, with Chiron. And the thing about, it is like say for example, Chiron is in Virgo. There may be some issues, with wanting to be perfect or infallible, but it's about understanding that being perfect, being close to perfect is the acceptance, I would say, that we can't be flawless or infallible. If Chiron is in Aries is another example. The thing is that there's suffering being connected, with, say with courage. It's maybe understanding that courage is not always about, the key to that could be, understanding that courage is not always connected with, being able, to stand up or fight everything, just fighting maybe the battle within, oneself. in emerging victorious in that manner. And really, things that could be holding you back as an example. And that's how we win. That's the fight, maybe, that may need to be fought. And another thing too about these aspects is that the it could also be auspicious for healing, which is Chiron through the public, which is the moon. And let's say if Libra is involved, it could be through chiropractic work, or Aquarius. You know, Chiron is an Aquarius. The healing may be done, maybe helping people somehow through computers, electronics, or even astrology, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.